やっほージョイジョイのナタと
サラです。
オーエンスです。
今日は、ジョアナとアンディとジョンのおじいちゃんであるリチャード・オエンズさんをインタビューしたいと思います。
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
どういたしまして。
ずっと前にもうすでにインタビューは一度したんやけど、はい、今日はその続きをしたいと思います。
よかった。
宣教師を長年してきたその経験を、引き出していきたいと思います。僕たち自身も、最近結婚して、日本を目指しています。日本で宣教活動をしたいと思っています。今日は英語でインタビューをしたいと思います。すぐスイッチするんやけど、英語の勉強にもなると思うので、ぜひ付き合ってください。We'll switch into English and ask you a few questions about your mission experience in Japan. We are a young German couple heading to Japan as missionaries, so it would be interesting to hear your story.
I was 31 when I arrived in Japan. My parents did not want me to be a missionary, but when they allowed me to go, they said, "Oh, please get married there as soon as possible." And when I arrived in Japan, there were 5 single girls.
Oh,
wow. So you had
some elderly, but most of them were learning Japanese. And so I just prayed and so at our first missionary meeting, there were 5 or 6 girls there, ladies, some elderly, some younger. But there was one girl, she was asked a question by the field leader, and she said, "Oh yes, I will answer. I will do such and such." It was to write an article about India. And I thought, she is willing and eager to work.
Nice girl.
But for 6 months, I did not say anything to her. But then, by the 6 months, we had a young people's meeting, a weekend together. And the Lord told me to ask a question. And the question was, do you believe the Lord is leading us together?
Wow, that's a pretty direct question.
Yeah. And she had to think in an instant, yes or no. And if she said no, she knew that it would be a lie, because Jesus had already been speaking to her heart.
Wow.
And so she said yes, and we left, and she went and I went, because we were doing some jobs at headquarters. And that I went back to Kyoto that night, and I wrote a letter and opened my Bible, and I said, in my Bible readings, it said, the Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Psalm 138, verse 8. Wow. She went to her room there, and she had been thinking some things and studying, and she remembered, the Lord gave her a verse just recently, and I have it still in a Bible underlined. She had also 138.
Wow.
And so she sent me a letter, and I sent her a letter the same day.
Yes.
And we both opened it. Jesus, it's wonderful. And so it's in my ring.
Wow.
It's on my
Psalm
ring.
138.
Verse 8.
Wow.
Jesus led the way for us, and he has been with us all the time.
Wow, that's amazing. So you married in Japan?
In Japan.
And you lived in Japan for how many years?
33 years.
33 years.
So we have
Wow.
3 children.
Wow, that's
Wow.
amazing.
It was amazing to us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And from your life in Japan, do you have any lessons that you learned that you could pass on to us?
Yeah. I mean, to learn the language, I think first thing, learn the language perfectly, as well as you can. Because Japanese don't just speak from the mouth. They speak from, and they don't say that they speak from the heart. They say that they speak from the
Stomach.
from the stomach.
Oh,
And until, so you can listen to a Japanese, and Japanese can say anything, but they don't mean it.
yes.
And so you have to be able to understand the
What
heart
they are saying.
of Japanese. And you have to learn the language very, very carefully so that you can really communicate, hear, enough to hear, and also to proclaim. So those 2 things. Everything else is simple. You know, if you can do that.
That's
I mean,
very
you don't
good.
have to be able to write, but writing is important. Kanji is, you get a deep meaning in kanji. But it takes a long time. I mean, children take to the age of, 12, 13, to learn almost 2,000 kanji. And it would take us a long time. But
Yes.
it's important. Get it. Get the language written. Because unless, it's only if you can read, then you can really understand the full, to know the heart of the Japanese. Very, very important to be able to communicate.
Learn the language, learn the culture, understand the culture.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I did first year was in a language school, but for the second year I began living with an elderly couple for 6 months, and then with a young couple with children for the next 6 months. And then we were married, so we waited 2 years before we were married, wet rules. But then we've been very close to the Japanese all along.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Wow.
30.
But there's a lot to learn from the Japanese.
Yes.
It's a very complex society, different levels, and but to get to know. So it's patience is needed, great patience.
Yes. So you lived in Japan for 33 years, and then you went back to Wales.
Yes.
How was that? Did you adjust right back, or yeah?
I think so, yeah, because it's a different chapter of life. But then I have many, many prayer letters from Japan, and I can read Japanese, so you know, and I can write with particularly with the laptop. You can write in Japanese, and so I send prayer letters in English, Welsh, and Japanese.
Wow. One more question. Did you enjoy your missionary lifestyle?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think, we accepted it. Some people, you know, but okay, we have to eat like Japanese, dress, you know, we live like Japanese, we live on the floor, sleep on the floor. I think if you don't fight against things, accept them, and accept that Jesus is with you, he will help. You know, Jesus is real.
Yeah.
Jesus is real.
Yes.
And he can do so much more than
we
you can.
Yes.
Amen.
Our testimony.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I rejoice in Jesus every day.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So I have nothing. Jesus is everything. I mean, that's important.
Yes. Jesus is everything. But I think you are also good at adjusting to Japanese culture, but then readjusting to Welsh culture.
And now to German culture.
Yes.
You have to
You're-
accept it.
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a great future ahead of you.
Yeah.
Bless
We're
you.
excited.
We're
Thank
excited
you.
to see.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
どういたしまして。
Thank you for letting us interview you
Yeah,
and
you're
giving
welcome.
us advice. I think it's very good.
Yeah.
And, ね, with Jesus and with a lot of patience, I hope
Yeah.
we
That's
can
possible.
also learn to be good missionaries, to do the will of Jesus. まあ、今日はここまでにしたいと思います。最後まで聞いてくれてありがとうございます。Thank you for listening and watching until the end. Please subscribe and like and share this video. チャンネル登録とシェアと高評価をよろしくお願いします。また今度の動画でお会いしましょう。
じゃあね。
バイバイ。さよなら。